Tell me about the NSE. Yesterday, the trade was very flat, at least if you compare the NSE 20 share index, but equity turnover picked up about 17%. What did you see in the market?
Well, I'm beginning to expect a correction. The reason I'm expecting is because a lot of the time you see local investors coming in when the market is on the high side. It's an unfortunate trend, but it keeps happening. And we have seen foreign investors, dictating what happens on the market in the last few months, pushed it to new highs. And as we reach the 4,000 mark, my feeling is that we are beginning to see more interest from the local investor, and that will definitely, to me, is a sign that, for investors who understand the market, then we need to start looking out, because bulls feed on themselves. But at this point in time, I feel that the market is rather overbought. It's going to that level where you need to be careful what you buy into, and if you have made some profits, it's a good time to take profit.
But that reminds me of the other saying: the bulls make money, the bears make money, and the pigs get slaughtered. Yesterday, 65% of the trades were controlled by local investors, but still strong foreign investor appetite for counters like KCB and Barclays and Safaricom.
Well, the thing is, in as much, you see, the excitement of the market tends to come in very late in time. And for example, with Safaricom, when Safaricom is at 3 shillings, none of the local investors is interested in it. Now the foreign investors come and push it to 354 shillings. By the time it reaches 4 shillings, local investors feel it might go to 5 shillings.
So they come and
rush in. And that's the hard effect. And that's really dangerous, because they keep burning their fingers, and it keeps having a detrimental effect on our market, which is why I feel that right now is not the time for them to be coming in. It would be the time for them to be actually looking back and waiting for the market to actually, buy at a lower price, in the hope that they can get out.
So they're almost going against that investing mantra, which everybody knows, to buy low and sell high.
Yes.
We tend to do the opposite.
Invariably so.
And why is that?
I don't
is it because you people in the market are not educating us?
No, it's because they don't listen to us. Because when we try, you see, the problem is that a lot of the time, when we are telling them to buy, that is when the press is out there telling them that the market is at the worst, it has been performing terribly.
So we in the press are the prophets of doom.
And that tends to have a very big effect on how investors think. So around December, I think if you looked at the newspapers, they were saying that the NIC Securities Exchange is the worst performing market in the world. And that's the time when we are telling them to buy. Naturally, an investor will be like, do you think I'm crazy? Why would I be buying into a market that is the worst performing
in the world?
Yeah, and so they don't listen to us. Then now, if you look at all the news we are seeing in the newspapers, it's at all time. We're
one of the best performing frontier markets.
Best performing frontier market. That's the sort of news that investors will be like, oh, now the market is good. So they come in at the wrong time, and unfortunately, it just works against.
That's a fascinating back and forth. NIC rights issue, 338% oversubscribed. Fine, we knew there's a lot of interest, appetite for rights issue, but this much, that's incredible.
Well, first of all, I'm glad I work for them.
That's true.
I am also glad I'm a shareholder. And the thing is, we did expect, because during the rights issue, in as much as we couldn't, bring that news out, we did notice that all the investors were asking for additional rights. And so by the halfway mark, we were already doing, over 100%. So we did expect, it wasn't a surprise, at least by the end of it. We had seen a very huge uptick, especially by the larger shareholders. Of course, there was also, I think, that element of security in that the majority owners had even gone to the central bank to ask if they could be allowed to take a higher threshold than the 25% threshold because of the confidence they have in their own bank. And that is a very good sign for investors. And so I think that also played its part. And I believe that that is a very good sign. NIC Bank has been on a growth trend. They have been moving into, a more holistic banking model. They have been moving into the region. They have done quite well. All the subsidiaries are profit making.
And the full disclosure, you work for one of those subsidiaries.
Yes.
Okay, Uchumi, near a year high, 52-week high is where it hit yesterday. It's been rising this past few days, and we're expecting earnings numbers out of that counter. Read your tea leaves for that for us.
Well, Shiano has carved a niche. One, he rightly actually targeted the fresh produce market, where now he has actually pulled the local investor into the local shopper into buying the fresh produce from Uchumi, which is a very good thing. It means that whenever I think of fresh produce, I think of Uchumi, and that has really worked well for him. The other thing is that there is a lot of confidence in the fact that Uchumi is the first company to actually come out of receivership and become a profitable company and get back on the market, and that is a very, very important milestone, and I believe that that has actually brought in a very strong investor confidence, and I believe that it's going to go on, especially as long as Shiano is at the helm. I do believe that we're going to be seeing much more. In fact, I think earlier I was telling you, for me, it's a case study.
It's a case study indeed. Join this too very quickly for me as we wrap up. The shilling yesterday down to a 9-day low, and at the same time the yield on the 182-day T-bill up to 10.30%.
Well, I think we have a bit of a high level of liquidity at the moment on the market. Secondly, I do think that the government is now looking for ways to attract funds,
yes,
considering the fact that the wage bill is actually getting out of hand.
Right.
And we have had them saying that they're going to target, different areas like, M-Pesa and all that to raise revenue. And so I think that the government needs to attract some funds. But that brings me again to the point I was at the beginning of this conversation,
right,
that usually if you start seeing interest rates going up, then you start expecting a correction on the equities market. So I would be a bit careful as an investor.